محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين المعصومين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وخطابه المتين، وهو أصدق القائلين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم. صلوات. Verily, this Quran guides towards that which is most upright. The Quran is a book of guidance sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the guidance of mankind for all times to come on his final messenger. There will be no messenger after him, and there will be no new Sharia after him. Whoever puts the Quran in front of him, the Quran will lead him to Jannah. And whoever puts the Quran behind him, it will push him into the hellfire. The zahir of the Quran, the apparent of the Quran, is a ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the batin, the hidden, the inner layers of the Quran is full of knowledge. The zahir is mystifying, the apparent is mystifying, is mysterious, and the batin is deep. And the Holy Prophet is the vessel that contains the realities of the Holy Quran. And because he was the final messenger and there will be no more message after him, it was necessary that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set up a divine institution to protect this holy message from misinterpretation for all times to come. And that institution is called the institution of Imamat, who the Imams, who are the divine trustees of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inherit these realities from the Holy Prophet, and the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent on earth does not leave the earth. It stays there. And these are the trustees of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why in their ziyarat we say, Assalamu alayka ya Amin Allah fi arzih. The trustees of Allah, the guardians of Allah's secrets on the face of earth. Just as the Holy Quran never gets old, it stays fresh, despite the fact that it was revealed almost 1400 years ago. But because it is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and its superiority over the other words, the tradition says that the virtue, that the fazlo of the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ala sa'iril kalam, the fazl, the bartari the superiority of the kalam of Allah over other texts, other words, ka fazlillah ala khalqih, is like the superiority of Allah over its creation. This is what we have among us as the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this never gets old. A person came to the sixth Imam and said, what is with the Quran? Ma balul Quran? The more I read, the more I learn, the more it is spread. It stays in its freshness. It never gets old. And the Imam described the reason why this happens. It says it is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lam yaj'alhu li zamanin duna zamanin. Allah did not reveal it for a particular time and not for a different time. It was not specific for one zaman. Wala li nasin duna nasin, and not for a particular group of people. And because of that, fahuwa inda kulli zamanin jadid. And that is why it is in every time it stays new. وَإِنْدَ كُلِّ قَوْمٍ غَزٌّ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. And with every nation it will stay fresh till the day of judgment. This is what the Holy Quran, the reality of the Holy Quran, the miracle of the Holy Quran, and it stands as the miracle of the final prophet even today. The miracles of the prophet, some of the miracles are historical miracles, but the Quran is the living miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in order to protect this Quran from misinterpretations, there is one guardian of the Holy Quran along with the Quran in all times. The Qayyim of the Holy Quran, the guardian of the Holy Quran. One of the companions of the sixth Imam, I briefly mentioned this riwayat on the first day, and I'll repeat that again, came to the sixth Imam and said, and you can get an idea of his marifat, of the level of its understanding with the set of questions or with the details that he mentions. He says, Inna Allah ajallu wa akram, verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, lofty is his station. He is ajal wa akram min an yu'raf bi khalqihi, balil khalq yu'rafuna billah. He says Allah is higher than that he should be known through his creation. Allah is higher than that he should be known through his creation. Rather, it is the creation that should be known through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we were taught the proofs of God, we identified God, we proved the existence of God by looking at the signs of God. You look at the trees, you look at the stars, you look at the sun and this universe and the nazm and order in the universe, and then you come to the conclusion there is a Lord, there is a creator. But this companion of the Imam is saying that Allah is superior than that, Allah is higher than that he should be known through his creation. Rather, it is the creation that should be known through him. It is as if you look at my shadow and you say, because I see a shadow, Maulana is sitting. People will say, the shadow is because of the Maulana. The Maulana is not because of the shadow. ये मखलूक खुदा की वजह से है, इस मखलूक की वजह से खुदा नहीं है. मखलूक की वजह से खुदा नहीं है. You go to the seaside and you look at the waves and you say, I see the waves, therefore the ocean exists. Rather, you should say, there is the ocean, that is why there are waves. The asl, the essence is the sea, because of which the ocean, the waves exist. So this companion comes to the Imam and he says that Allah is higher than that he should be known through his creation. Rather, it is the creation that should be known through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Imam said, Sadaqta, you're right. But because of our limited intellects, we cannot comprehend that level of marifah. Then the person continued, he said, And this line of argument is something that everyone should be aware of. These are our aqaid. He said that whoever recognizes that there is a Lord should know that his Lord has likes and dislikes. His Lord did not create him for no reason. His God wants things from him. And that he would not know his Lord, the wants, the likes and dislikes of his Lord, except that it should be communicated to him. So either he should receive revelation directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and since that did not happen, he should look for someone through which Allah has communicated. And when he finds that someone, there should be enough science in that person to prove that he is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the series of our aqaid. The companions used to go to the Imam and present their aqaid to their Imams, and the Imams would testify that you're right. This was something normal in those days. And the Imam said, you're right. And then he said that the Holy Prophet, and when he meets that messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would realize that this person is the hujjat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that time. The Imam testified. And then he said, then I talked to people and I asked them, well, during the time of the Holy Prophet was the hujjat of Allah. When the Holy Prophet left this world, who was the hujjat of Allah? And he said, the people replied to me that the Quran is the hujjat of Allah after the Holy Prophet. And he said, I asked them this question, that if Quran is the hujjat of Allah, I see different sects using the Quran to prove their point. The Dahriyas use the Quran. Even those who do not believe in the Holy Quran, they use verses of the Holy Quran to prove that they are right. If you talk to different sects, every sect will have an ayah of the verse of the Quran to show that they are on the right path. So how can Quran be the hujjat and cannot resolve a dispute among us? So this means that the Quran cannot be a hujjat unless there is a guardian over it. Unless there is a qayyim over it, and that qayyim, whatever he says, his word should be final regarding what Allah means from this holy verse. And then I asked them, who is this qayyim after the Holy Prophet? And they say, a lot of companions know the Quran. Abu Umar knows it, Huzaifa knows it, and this companion knows, and that companion knows. And I asked them, do they know all of it? Because I've seen when questions arise, this person says, La adri, I don't know, and that person says, La adri, I don't know, and he says, La adri, I don't know. And there is only one person that I find that never says La adri, but he knows all of the Quran. And that person is none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. So this person who knows all of the Quran, he has to be the guardian of the Holy Quran. And he is the hujjat of Allah after the Holy Prophet. These are our aqaid. There has to be a hujjat of Allah in all times. After the Holy Prophet, Imam Ali al-Islam was the hujjat, the divine trustee of Allah, and after him his son Imam Hassan, and then after him his other son Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, and they had ilmul kitab, the knowledge of the book. And their knowledge of the book was different. Their interpretation did not depend on the tools the mujtahids use today. There is a principle in Islam called Qaidatul Jub, which means that al-Islam yajubbu ma qablah. Islam wipes off your past sins. If a person who is a kafir was to become Muslim, all of his past sins would be forgiven. If he had not prayed, he does not have to do qaza. If he had not fasted, he does not have to fast. If he had not paid khums, he does not have to. So when you accept Islam, all of your past sins are forgiven, and you have a fresh start. This is the beauty of Islam. And this is one of the beautiful things about Islam. One of the best things that can happen to any person is Islam. And the tradition, one of the traditions says that after Islam, there's another thing that can happen to a person. It's worth mentioning. It says, Mastafada imra'un Muslim faidatan ba'dal Islam afzala. A Muslim man, a Muslim person has not gained, seeked a benefit after the benefit of Islam better than what? Afzala min zawjatin muslimatin. Better than a Muslim wife. After the benefit of Islam, the next best benefit a person can acquire is the benefit of a Muslim woman who delights him when he looks at her, and who listens to him when he requests her, and who protects herself and his belongings when he's absent. So based on this ayah that Islam wipes off your past sins, in the time of Mutawakkil, there was this Christian person who had committed an immoral act with the Muslim women, and he got arrested. And it was decided, a judgment was passed against him, and he was about to be punished. Looking at his punishment, at the imminent punishment, he accepted Islam. He said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. And one of the things to notice is that when you recite this kalma shahadat, you are granted Muslim citizenship right there and then. It does not take you 3 years or 5 years or 7 years to become a Muslim citizen. You say the kalima, you immediately become Muslim citizen, and you're entitled to all the rights that Muslims are entitled to. It's so easy to become a Muslim citizen. So he recited the Shahada. And now there was a dispute among the judges. Now that he has become a Muslim, all of his past sins would be wiped off. So can we punish him? Should he be punished or not? And different people had there were great scholars of that time, and they all had their own opinions. Some said he should be punished, some said he should be forgiven because Islam wipes off your past sins. How can you punish him for a sin that has been wiped off by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then the incident was brought to Imam Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam. And he resolves this from a verse of the Holy Quran. This whole incident was to show how the Imams can look at the Holy Quran and extract information that other scholars could not. They could not. And once the Imams would reveal that information, only then they would realize, oh, this information was there and we could not see it. Because their interpretation, their interaction with the Holy Quran is at a completely different level. The Imam said he would be punished, the punishment would be executed on them. And when they asked, why is it so? Based on what principle? The Imam recited this verse of the Holy Quran, which says, فَلَمَّا رَأَوْا بَأَسَنَا. When they look at our punishment, قَالُوا آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ. They say, we believe in Allah, wahdahu, alone, wa kafarna bima kunna bihi mushrikeen, and we reject what we used to make partners in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The verse of the Holy Quran, when they see our punishment, they start believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they reject their lords that they used to make partners with Allah. فَلَمْ يَكُوا يَنْفَعُهُمْ إِيمَانُهُمْ. Their iman will be of no benefit to them. لَمَّا رَأَوْا بَعْسَنَا. When they see our punishment. سُنَّةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي قَدْ خَلَتْ فِي عِبَادِهِ. This is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So direct, when you look at this, none of the jurists of that time could extract this piece of information from this verse. So these are the divine trustees of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they interact with the Quran, and their saying And whenever they would give a ruling, they would ask people to ask them. They would say, ask me, from the Quran did I give you this ruling? And I will point out. None other than the Ahlul Bayt can interact and talk to the Quran in this manner. So it is important that we follow in the footsteps of our great Imams and their advices. One of the shikwas, one of the complaints of the Imam, he says, Ma yamna'ul tajir minkum al-mashghul fi suqihi. What stops a trader from amongst you who is busy in his shop? Iza raja'a ila manzilihi, when he returns to his home. What stops him from reciting one surah of the Holy Quran before going to bed? Ma yamna'u tajir minkum al-mashghul fi suqihi iza raja'a ila manzilihi an la yanam hatta yaqra suratan min al-Quran. What stops you from reciting one surah of the Holy Quran before going to bed when you return to your home? We as a nation have distanced ourselves from the Quran, and that is why you see these issues that are coming up in the societies, and everybody is taking their own path. We need to go back to the Quran. We claim to be the sect that have grasped the Holy Quran and the Ahlul Bayt. Inni tarikun fikum mustaqalain kitab Allahi wa itrati. They left both, not just the Holy Quran and not just the Ahlul Bayt. Both. Ma in tamassaktum bihima. If you cling to both of them, if you grasp to both of them, only then you'll never go astray. So we need to pay more attention, inshallah. You are paying attention. We need to pay more attention to how we interact and how we engage with the Holy Quran. And these Imams that we have, they are the manifestations, they are the embodiments of the Holy Quran. And gradually we'll now start delving more into the topic that I have chosen for these few nights, to show how our Imams were a manifestation of the Holy Quran. Not only of the Holy Quran, but also of the seerah of the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi Muhammad. In one of the sayings, in one of the letters that Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam wrote to the people of Basra, he said, Inna sunnah qad umitat. Verily the sunnah has died. The sunnah has died. And mind you, this sunnah did not die after Yazid took over. It did not immediately die. It had died before. This letter that the Imam is writing right now, the Yazid has not given any new set of instructions. This was the state of the affairs of the Muslim Ummah. The Sunnah had died. And it was the responsibility of the divine representative to bring it back to life. And in the letter that he wrote to the people of Basra, he said, Inni ad'ukum ilallah. I invite you towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa ila nabiyyihi, and towards his Nabi. Inna sunnah qad umitat. Verily the sunnah of Rasulullah has died. فَإِن تُجِيبُوا دَعْوَتِي. If you answer my call, وَتُطِيعُوا أَمْرِي, and you obey my instructions, أَهْدِكُمْ إِلَى سَبِيلِ الرَّشَادِ. I will guide you to the path of guidance. He was the Imam of his time. It was his responsibility to bring those things back to life. I'll narrate one of the stories in the time of Imam Hussain. One of the persons, when an Arabi, a Bedouin, came to the Imam and he said that I have promised, I've become the Zamin of a full diyah. What do you mean by diyat? Diyat is the blood money that a person has to pay when he accidentally kills or damages, inflicts bodily harm on someone. And full diyat is equal to 100 camels. So if a person accidentally kills someone in an accident, for example, 100 camels is the blood money that has to be paid. And sometimes this blood money is the responsibility of the government. In today's time, whenever there is an attack and a person gets shaheed, how much amount does the government give? 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 20 lakhs? Depends on who the person is and then the nature. But the life, the value Islam puts on human life is 100 camels. If each camel costs 2 lakhs, that would be 2 crore. That is the life value of a Muslim life. And it does not depend whether he is a learned person or an illiterate person. That is the life of a... So this person comes to the Imam and he says that I have promised to pay off someone's diya, which means this lofty amount, and I do not have the resources to pay. So I decided to ask. Now in this situation, if someone has to pay diyat, it is allowed to go and ask for qarz or ask for money. So I've decided to go to the most kareem and most honorable and most dignified household for this task, and I did not find any household more dignified than the household of the Holy Prophet. That is why I've come to you. Now our perception of the Imam is that if you go to the Imam with a request, the Imam would immediately fulfill it. But look at the response of the Imam. He said, I will ask you 3 questions. If you answer all of them, I will give you all of what you need. If you answer 2 of them, I will give you 2/3 of what you need. If you answer 1 of them, I will give you 1/3 of what you need. This was surprising for him, and maybe for us as well. That is not the Imam we have imagined. We think whatever we ask, the Imam is going to fulfill. And he was surprised as well. He said, Amisluka yas'alu an misli, would the likes of you ask the likes of me? Wa anta min ahlil fazl wa sharaf wal ilm. You are the ahlil fazl, you are the ahlil ilm, and I am a jahil. How can you ask a jahil a question? And he said, the Imam replied, Bala, why not? And he said that I have heard my jad, Sami'tu jaddi Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Yaqul, he would say, Al-ma'ruf biqadri al-ma'rifah. Al-ma'ruf biqadri al-ma'rifah. Do goodness to a person, a goodness should be done to a person based on his ma'rifah. Based on what he knows. The tawajjuh, the attention the Imams are going to pay to us will depend on our level of ma'rifah. How much we know our religion, our Imams, our God, our duties. That is the value, and that is what we are going to get from the Imam. He thought for a while and he said, if that is the case, so be it. Ask me. If I will know the answer, I will get what I need. And if I don't know the answer, I will learn it from you. In either case, it's a win-win situation for me. And you can see the marifat of him from this question, from this answer that he gave. So the Imam asked him the first question, Ma ayyul amal afzal? Which of the actions is the most afzal? He said, Al-iman billah. Iman on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Imam said yes. Then he asked him the second question, Ma yuzayyinur rajul? What beautifies a person? What is the zenith of a person? And he said, Al-ilm ma'ahu hilm. Ilm coupled with hilm. Ilm alone is not zenith if it is not coupled with hilm. Hilm is forbearance. Not to react and not to punish. There's one thing being kazim, where you suppress your anger. And hilm is to let go of it. Ilm ma'ahu hilm. And he said, that's right, but what if a person does not have that? What if a person does not have ilm? He said, Mal ma'ahu muruwa. Wealth coupled with humanity. So if you have wealth, if you have mal, but you have no humanity, then it is not a zinat. The Imam said yes. Then the third part of that question, what if he does not have that? Not everybody will have wealth, not everybody will have ilm. What if he does not have that? In other words, what if he is poor? And he replied, faqr. Then in that case, what gives you zinat is faqr ma'ahu sabr. Faqr coupled with patience. The Imam said, what if he does not have that? He thought for a while and he said, well, in that case, thunder should come from the sky, lightning should come from the sky and burn him alive. Because that is what he deserves then. The Imam smiled and he gave them what he had come from. Not only what he had come from, but more than what he wanted. He gave them one bag of gold and he said, give that to whom you have promised and use this amount for your daily needs. He gave him more, and when that person was leaving the Imam, he said, Allahu ya'lamu haysu yaj'alu risalatah. Allah knows best where to put his prophetic mission. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. Where to put his prophetic mission. These Imams, in this story, you see that the Imam brought to life one of the sunnats of the Holy Prophet, al-ma'ruf biqadr al-ma'rifa. And in the entire movement of Karbala, the Imam, one after the other, acted on a lot of the verses of personified and embodied a lot of the verses of the Holy Quran. Because they were the representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the coming days, inshallah, we will talk about them in more detail. The verses that talk about suppressing your anger, al-qadhimain, and the verses that talk about amr bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar. All of the prophets were sent with one basic message. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا في كل أمة رسولا أن اعبدوا الله واجتنبوا الطاغوت. To obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay away from taghut. This message was the prime message that was driving the movement of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. The prime message and the most important message. And if you look at this message, أن اعبدوا الله, Allah sent a prophet in every nation with this command that they should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Amr bil Maruf. Wajtanibut taghut, and stay away from the taghut. This is Nahi anil munkar. So the prime purpose of sending all the prophets was Amr bil Maruf wa Nahi anil munkar. And in the previous books, one of the signs of the final prophet was that he would do Amr bil Maruf wa Nahi anil munkar. It is through Amr bil Maruf wa Nahi anil munkar that the final prophet would be recognized by the previous nations. And Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, when he was leaving, and in his will that he wrote to Muhammad Hanfiya, he said, إِنَّمَا خَرَجْتُ لِطَلَبِ الْإِصْلَاحِ فِي أُمَّةِ جَدِّي أريد أن آمر بالمعروف وأنهى عن المنكر. I am leaving only and only for the sake of the reform of the ummah of my holy grandfather. I want to do Amr bil Maruf and stop from, I want to invite people towards good, وَانْهَى عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and stop them from evil. وَأُسِيرَ بِسِيرَةِ جَدِّي وَعَبِي عَلِي ibn Abi Talib, and I want to follow in the footsteps of my grandfather, and Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salatu wasalam. This is what Imam Hussain ﷺ mentioned as his mission statement in the wasiyat that he was writing to Muhammad Hanafiya. And when you're writing a wasiyah, you want to point out the most significant parts of your movement, because that is going to stay in history. The words could get tempered, but when you're writing a wasiyah, you would highlight the most important aspects of your movement. So Amar bil Maruf wa Nahy anil Munkar is one of the most important aspects, and our programs and our majalis has to be a continuation of the movement of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. The objectives that he wanted to achieve, these majalis, these programs, these gatherings, should further his movement, should help accomplish the goals that he wanted to accomplish. Only then we can claim to be a part of the movement of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam. When Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam left Mecca and moved to Medina, left Medina and moved to Mecca. He left Mecca in Rajab and he moved to Medina in Shaban. How much time did he stay in Medina? In Mecca? Shaban, Ramazanul Mubarak, Shawwal, Ziqat. 4 months. Why did he come to Mecca? Because the season of Hajj was coming. And Muslims from all over the world would be coming to Mecca for the holy pilgrimage. There Imam Hussain would get the opportunity to disseminate his message, to tell them why he is not submitting to Yazid, what the problems are with Yazid, what is the problem with the Muslim Ummah, and why he has refused to do bay'ah to all of the Muslims. By staying in Mecca, he would be able to disseminate the message to the entire Muslim world. And while he was there, he learned that Yazid has sent assassins to assassinate Imam Hussain in the holy sacred city of Mecca. And because of that, when he learned that, he decided to cut down his trip and he left Mecca before performing the sacred duty of Hajj. And he started to move towards Kufa. And when he was 2 stops away from Kufa, he met with an army of 1,000 soldiers. There was an exchange between them. Before the exchange happened, Imam provided water to all of his soldiers. And when the soldiers were done, to all of the animals of the army of Yazid. That would be at least around 1,000 water bags. And there must be other waters with the Imam as well. Because the Imam was traveling. You need to imagine the majesty with which the Imam was moving, the majesty of the caravan. So many water bags. How much food would be with him? How much wealth he would be moving. He did not leave Medina like a runaway slave. He did not leave Medina like a poor person. He was moving as if the kings used to move, with all that belongings. Even on the night of Ashur, when one of his companions learned that one of his sons had been captured at one of the borders, he gave this person, he freed him of his allegiance and he said, "Go and free your son." And he said, "No, I will never do that. Should I leave only to be eaten by the beasts of the desert? I will never leave you alone." Then he said, "Then send one of your sons to go and free your other son." And then he gave them one very precious, very wealthy dress, to use that money to save your son, to give that in exchange for his freedom. And that is just one of the dresses that he gave. Imagine the amount of wealth he would have when he was traveling. Imam was not a poor person. The diyat that he gave in the story that I mentioned, 2 crore, 200 camels, one person with he answered 3 questions. This is the amount that the Imam is giving him. So Imam had a lot of wealth and he would use this wealth whenever it was needed. He was not attached to this dunyavi wealth. So wealth is not bad. The attachment to this wealth is bad. That is what is condemned. You look at the fourth Imam, he had 1,000 slaves, and he would buy slaves, he would train them and he would free them, and then he would buy more slaves and then train them and free them. If you factor all of this in, you would see how much wealth they had. Amirul Mu'minin as well. But that wealth was running and was used in the way of Islam. So when he met Hur and he fed them with water, there was an exchange. And Hur was not one of those who had written letters to the Imam. And when the Imam said, I am coming to Kufa because you have invited, he was in shock. He said, I didn't send a letter. I don't know of any of these letters. The Imam then ordered his companions to bring those scrolls that he had received from Kufa, and he showed it to them. You have invited, you have written, your people have written these letters, and that is why I am here. And during one of the exchanges, the Imam said to him, Ala tarawna anna al-haq la yu'mal bih. Do you not see that haq is not being acted upon? Wa anna al-batil la yutanaha an, and batil is not being stopped from. لَيَرْغَبِ الْمُؤْمِنِ. A mu'min in such a situation should desire to meet his Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is his duty. He should meet his Lord in such a situation. It was in this same encounter that he said this statement and repeated this statement when he entered Karbala as well. An-nasu abidud dunya. People are the slaves of this dunya. وَالدِّينُ لَائِقٌ عَلَىٰ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. And religion is on their lips only. When they are tested, they keep religion on their lips as long as it does not conflict with their economic situation. And as soon as they are tested, the religious people are very few. قَلَّتْ دَيَّانُونَ. The religious people will be very few. And that is why you see people had left the Imam during the course of their journey, because as the situation get tensing, as the situation was tightened around Imam Hussain, people were being tested and they gradually left one by one. And that would happen today as well. Because today we are no different. If religion is on our lips and we want to keep religion as long as it does not conflict with our worldly ambitions, we will do the same when we are tested. And this is one of the reasons why the Imam was left alone in Karbala. The love of this dunya. And if we listen to the sermons, we read the sermons that Imam Hussain ﷺ read to the people or delivered on Ashura. He talked about the disloyalness, how this world is disloyal to those who love them. And he warned them that you're not going to get this dunya. Even with the discourse that he had with Umar Saad, you're not going to get the wheat of Ray. He said, if I don't get the wheat, I will content myself with its barley. The love of this dunya was what had cornered Imam Hussain ﷺ in this situation. Hur did not allow Imam to enter Kufa, and he asked him to take a different route, and the Imam took a route towards Karbala. And on the 2nd of Muharram, the caravan of Imam Hussain reached the land of Karbala. The Imam was on his horse, and according to one of the maqtals, when the horse reached the land of Karbala, it stopped. The Imam tried, but it did not move any further. He changed his horse. The other horse also did not move. At that point, the Imam asked, what is this place called? He said, he was told it is called Ghazariya. Does it have another name? It is called Shati al-Furat. Any other name? It is also called Arzu Karbin wa Bala. When the Imam heard this name, he immediately said, this is the locus of grief and trial. Descend, for this is where we will pitch our tents. This is where our blood will be spilled. This is where our animals will rest. And this is where our children will be slaughtered. My grandfather has truly informed me of what will transpire. he came down, and as he was sharpening and cleaning his sword, he recited certain verses of a poem. The verses of the poem goes like this: Ya dahru uffin laka min khalilin, kam laka bil ishraq wal asil. Eh dahr, eh zamana, uffin laka min khalilin, teri dosti par uff ho, woe on your friendship. Kam laka bil ishraq wal asil. How many of your desires and friends have you killed? Kam laka bil ishraq wal asil min talibin wa sahibin qatilin wa dahru la yaqna'u bil badil. And still dahr, time, you're not content with it. You want more and more. So many have you killed who came after you, and you want more and more. وَكُلُّ حَيٍّ سَالِكٌ سَبِيلِ. And every living creature is moving on this path, is taking the same route. مَا أَقْرَبُ الْأَقْرَبَ الْوَعْدُ مِنْ رَحِيلِ. How soon is the time to leave this world? وَإِنَّمَا الْأَمْرُ إِلَى الْخَلِيلِ. When he recited these words, Lady Zainab Salamullah Alaiha was nearby. When she heard the Imam reciting these verses, she could not bear these verses coming from the Imam, because she realized that only a person who is sure of his imminent death would recite these verses. Barefooted, she rushed towards the Imam, and he said, Oh my brother, why are you reciting these verses? Only a person who is sure that he will be killed very soon would recite these verses. The Imam said, yes, that is true. I will be killed very soon. When Lady Zainab Salamullah Alaiha heard this positive reply from Imam that he will be killed very soon, she could not bear the news of her brother's death. She fainted. She fainted right there, and then the Imam sprinkled some water on her, and when she regained consciousness, the Imam consoled her by saying, all the inhabitants of the sky will die, all the inhabitants of the earth will die. Nobody has lived. Our grandfather passed away, our father passed away, our mother passed away, our brother passed away. I too will leave this world. I too will leave this world. He consoled her. He consoled her. Lady Zainab could not bear hearing the news of his brother's death. Imagine her situation when she would be actually seeing when her brother was being slaughtered. A person came to our Imam with this important question, which is valid and in our minds today as well. He asked, oh my Imam, why is it that the day of Ashur has become the greatest day of mourning, whereas we have the day in which the Holy Prophet passed away? We do not mourn that day as the greatest day of mourning. The day when Amirul Mu'mineen left this world, हम उस दिन को इस तरह से नहीं मनाते जिस तरह से आशूर को मनाते हैं. The day when Lady Fatima left this world, that was a great day to mourn, but it is not commemorated the way Ashur is commemorated. What is the secret behind it? The Imam gave a beautiful reply and a meaningful reply, and Lady Zainab knew that reply. On the day of Ashur, Imam said that the most Akram Makhluk, the most honorable creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, were the ones who were under the kisa, who were under the cloak of Hadith-e-Kisa. When the Holy Prophet passed away, we knew that there were still four members of that group on the face of earth. We would look at them and we would remind ourselves of the Holy Prophet. Then one by one, Lady Fatima passed away. It was a great day to mourn, but we had three other members still with us. Then our father passed away, Amirul Mu'mineen passed away, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain were still with us. And when people would look at them, they would be reminded of the Holy Prophet, they would be reminded of Amirul Mu'mineen, they would be reminded of Lady Fatima Salamullah Alaiha, till a time came when Imam Hassan was also poisoned and he left this world. The only representative of the Ashab-e-Kisa on the face of earth now was Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. He was the one that reminded them of all of those other four Ma'asumeen. On the day of Ashura, when Imam Hussain left this world, the connection with the Ashab-e-Kisa was severed. He said it was because of this connection that we no longer had any member of Ashab-e Kisa among us. That is why this day has become one of the most greatest days of mourning for us. And that is why on the day of Ashur, when Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha saw her brother being slaughtered, and when he had been slaughtered, she cried saying, Al-Yawm Mata Jaddi Rasulullah. It is today that my grandfather has died. Al-Yawm Mata Abid. It is today that my father has died. Al-Yawm Mata Ummi. It is today that my mother passed away. Al-Yawm Mata Akhi. It is today that my brother Hassan has passed away. In the death of Imam Hussain, she was seeing the departure of the Holy Prophet. She was seeing the departure of Amir al-Mu'mineen. When she was seeing Imam Hussain being slaughtered, as if she was seeing the Holy Prophet being slaughtered before her eyes. She was seeing Amir al-Mu'mineen being slaughtered before her eyes. She was seeing Imam Hassan alayhi salam slaughtered before her eyes. Alalānatullahi alal qawm al-zalimeen. May Allah accept what was said and bless this gathering and accept the hajat of all of you who are here, inshallah. Matam Hussain.
Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate, till the skies illuminate with the light you radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate, till the skies illuminate with the light you radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Buried in your heart the son of Fatima.
Buried in your heart the son of Fatima.
Waris of Adam wa Nuh Mustafa.
Waris of Adam wa Nuh Mustafa.
That Hussain ibn Ali al-Murtada. That Hussain ibn Ali al-Murtada, who defied every zulm of Ashqiya, with his final call you still reverberate. With his final call you still reverberate, till the skies illuminate with the light you radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Everyone! Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. He who taught us how to brave adversity.
He who taught us how to brave
adversity. Never compromise on your humanity.
Never compromise on your humanity.
He who fought malice with generosity. He who fought malice with generosity and became the standard of integrity. Only if his model we could emulate. Only if his model we could emulate. Till the skies illuminate, everyone, with the light you radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your message is pristine and pure.
Karbala, your message is pristine and pure.
Never be unjust nor injustice endure.
Never be unjust nor injustice endure.
Wealth and power never should inspire awe. Wealth and power never should inspire awe. Everything you heard and everything you saw, till our final breath we shall commemorate. Till our final breaths we shall commemorate. Till the skies illuminate, everyone, with the light you
radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate.
One more time.
Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate.
Karbala, you would be lost in history.
Karbala, you would be lost in history.
And Ali Akbar wa Abbas Jari.
And Ali Akbar wa Abbas Jari.
Were it not for your Sahib Binte Ali, were it not for your Sahib Binte Ali, in the court of arrogance and tyranny, now forever will your sermon resonate. Now forever will your sermon resonate, till the skies illuminate with the light you radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate.
Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate.
Every Ashura we Shia must renew.
Every Ashura we Shia must renew.
Karbala's anthems in our character too.
Karbala's anthems in our character too.
Our mourning should inspire what we do. Our mourning should inspire what we do. Only then can we deliver what is due. Mawla, help our speech and actions integrate. Mawla, help our speech and actions integrate. Till the skies illuminate, everyone, with the light you radiate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Karbala, your tragedy we will narrate. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.